appreciative you coming back to my channel here at Chef Ling. And if you guys don't know who I am, you can search me on Instagram at Line with Ling. Also, today we're gonna be making stew beef. Well, not also, the main point. We're making stew beef today, and to be honest, I know a lot of you have been subscribing to me at a very high pace. I appreciate you guys, every single one of you. So I hope that you guys could leave a comment below and let me know that you've joined Saga Boy Nation. But for today, let's cook this stew beef because there's so many interesting steps. I can't wait to show you. Just follow along until the very end and you can catch all of the cool tips and tricks. Alright? So let's get right into this stew beef.
My name is Chef Ling. I reside in Toronto, Canada, but home will always be Trinidad and Tobago. This has been a long time coming. I've only ever wanted to share my culture through my passion for food. I cannot wait for you to join me on this culinary adventure. Let me go.
So first things first, we want to cut this beef up so we can season it. We're going to cube it by an inch. Again, you don't have to be too specific about the exact size, because it's not really that serious, but an inch by an inch would be perfect. For this recipe, I'm not really worrying too much about the fat content. Like my other steak video, I talked about how I don't want to have too much fat. But for stew beef, go ahead and cube that fat. We're gonna keep recipe because I promise it's also gonna add a lot of flavor for stew beef. Also, this is like a T-bone steak kind of steak I bought here. So there's a bone. I'm gonna be using that as well to use for flavoring. We're gonna use the bone as well in the stew beef. But we're going to be pulling it out when we're done cooking. Okay, so here's a lower grade cut of beef because I wanted to mix some of the higher quality beef in with just a regular cut. So this, I'm going to be doing the same thing and cubing it inch by an inch. You can even see it's a little harder to cut. But no problem, it's gonna do and work really well for this recipe. They also have stew like beef already cubed in the grocery stores nowadays up here in Toronto. So you can buy the beef already cubed. Nothing wrong with that, you can do that as well. Save yourself one step. But I like to pick the beef I'm using and cube it myself. Just in case if there's any extra pieces of fat that I don't really like, I can pull it out. Or cut it out. Alright, so there you go. We're almost done cutting up this beef here. What we're going to do now is start to season it. We're going to be using the green seasoning as the base for the seasoning for the beef. Right? Okay, there you go. We're done. All the beef has been cut up. Okay, so we just cubed this beef. So now what we're going to do is just go ahead and season it. So we're going to start off with a tablespoon of my magical green seasoning. Guys, I really think that a lot of YouTubers that I've been looking at, they all have merch. So I'm thinking about making this my merch. So leave a comment below if you think that's a good idea or not. But it would make me really happy if you did let me know what you think. So I'm just gonna add the tablespoon of the green seasoning to the beef. This is Cajun spice. I'm going to use a half tablespoon. Black pepper. Half tablespoon. Vegetable seasoning. Half tablespoon. Jeera. Half tablespoon. Salt. 1 tablespoon. Vegetable seasoning. Half tablespoon. Paprika, half tablespoon. Soy sauce, a tablespoon. And last but not least, honey. Honestly, if you add a little bit of sweetness right now, it's gonna really bring out the tart in the stew beef. So we're gonna add about a tablespoon of honey as well. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is just go ahead and mix the beef together. Now we're gonna put this to the side because we're gonna let that marinate while we make our dough now. We're almost ready to start cooking, guys, because when we start to cook, it's really quick, so don't worry, there's not too much more steps gonna happen. So here we have a half cup of flour. Just gonna add that into a bowl. And I'm gonna put a tablespoon of salt as well right now. I'm gonna mix my dry ingredients together, and then I'm gonna start adding water slowly. Dumpling dough is my favorite, super easy to make. Just looking for the right consistency. Oh, there you go. We're about right. I'm gonna show you how to form this out on the table after so that we can make it into dumplings. But for now, this is good enough. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is get our vegetables ready to actually cook the stew beef, and then that's it. We're gonna be cooking it, and it's gonna take about 10 minutes, or 10 to 15 minutes to cook fully through. Depending on the kind of beef you have, it'll determine how long the stew beef will have to cook to make sure that it's tender and not chewy. Alright, so let's get right into it. What we're gonna do is peel our carrots and cut up our red onion. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and peel the carrot. Oh. I'm gonna put about 3 carrots. I'm going to put 3 carrots in this recipe today. And since I'm peeling, not much to talk about right now. Let's talk about maybe subscribing. Guys, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. That would make my day. Alright, so we're done peeling the carrots. Let's go ahead and cut these, let's go ahead and cut them up. We're just gonna make them into little circles. Okay, so now that we have peeled the carrots, we're just gonna give it a cut up now. Try to get it about a 1/4 inch thick. Over here, over here, over here. Alright, let's keep going. The way maybe I should show this. The way I'm chopping it right now, I'm just using my knuckles to guide the knife. So that way we're not going to cut our fingers, we're just going to cut the carrots. You see, as I get up to the top, and it gets a little bit thicker, I like to cut it a little thinner as well. I'm actually going to stop there. I'm going to stop at 2.5 carrots because I think that's enough. Put that back here. Now I'm going to cut up my corn. Now the really simple way to cut corn is just to push the knife into it and just make a circle with the corn. that's gonna make you cut the corn much easier. Because if you go like this and just push down, it's gonna be much harder. But if you push down and you're gonna cut the corn. I'm gonna be using about 2 corn here. Because I like corn. If you notice, I'm cutting it fairly thin, and I think you guys should do that as well because it makes sure that the corn cooks evenly and you don't have to keep cooking the beef because you know the corn needs a little more time. So this way, cut smaller, the corn will cook faster as well. Okay, perfect. Alright, so now we have our corn, our carrots, our tomatoes, because I'm using cherry tomatoes as well. They're very sweet. It's about half cup of cherry tomatoes. And the last but not least is the red onion. So what I'm doing right now is just peeling the red onion and I'm going to slice it. I'm leaving the onions a little bit bigger for this recipe because it's going to really give it a different texture as well. The stewing it down will soften it. You don't have to worry about being a little bit bigger than normal. You don't have to worry about being bigger than normal. Okay, perfect. I'm going to use half an onion for this recipe. Okay, so it's time to cook. Finally, we prepped everything. It's so simple to cook. Follow along, it's not too much longer, so keep going until the end. I can't wait to show you what it's going to look like. So we have the pot on, we're going to turn it on high here, and we're going to start caramelizing about 1/4 cup of sugar. Perfect. Now we're going to add the beef. The same bowl that was marinated in the beef, going to add about 1/2 cup of water. What we're gonna do now, guys, it smells so wicked in here. What we're gonna do is roll out our dough to make the dumplings now. So we're just gonna move this out to the way here. Alright, guys, it smells so wicked in here, to be honest.
Wicked in here.
Yeah, and I can't wait to cut up this dumplings here to show you how this is gonna be. Alright, so we have the stew beef started already, but we're gonna start adding the dumpling. So what I'm doing here is I roll it out and press it flat, and we're just gonna cut it horizontally. Perfect. Now we're just going to simply add these dumplings into the stew beef. Okay, we're stewing very nicely now. We're just gonna add a touch more water. We're gonna cover that, we're gonna let it simmer, and then we're gonna just come back to it in about 15 minutes. We'll let all those ingredients simmer together, and we're quite done. I can't wait for you to see what this thing is like, and I'm gonna see you on the next episode of Lime with Ling. And if you like this content today, please give me a subscribe, and if you have anything you want to see more of, let me know in the description below, and next time on Lime with Ling.